A 2025 study of 178 NCAA college coaches has revealed exactly what they look for when they recruit a soccer player. And here's the big takeaway. Your kid's current coach might not be training what these college coaches are asking for. Today, I'll take you through the study's findings, with the factor rated the most important by the college coaches coming in at the end. So stay tuned to see what it is. It might change how you view every practice session. Just to give you some background on the data we are looking at today, 178 Division 1 and Division 2 college coaches were surveyed on how they identify youth male and female soccer players. They were asked to rate the importance of a number of different attributes in 5 different domains. They were physical, psychological, technical, game intelligence and social. And they also revealed exactly how they scout, meaning what tools they actually trust and use versus what they ignore. And this gave us some results that, frankly, a lot of youth clubs probably wish they'd hidden, because when you look at the data, you start to see a massive disconnect between what you're buying, the club training, and what the college coaches are actually looking for. I see this specific misalignment constantly when I'm reviewing training schedules for parents. They think they're checking all the boxes, but the data shows they're often emphasizing the wrong attributes. So let's break down the 4 key findings. The first area the study analysed was physical attributes. Now, if you look at the traditional youth soccer model, there's a heavy emphasis on fitness. You see a lot of laps, a lot of long distance running, and a general goal of making players tired. Parents often view a hard, exhausting session as a good session, but the data from the NCAA coaches tells a different story. While general endurance is a baseline requirement, it wasn't the differentiator. The coaches rated agility, acceleration, and speed significantly higher than aerobic endurance. And here's why this distinction matters for your child's schedule. Soccer is an intermittent sport. It's not a 5-mile jog. It's hundreds of explosive, high-intensity actions followed by recovery. The college scout is looking for explosive power, the ability to change direction instantly and accelerate away from a defender. If your child's training environment prioritizes long, slow distance running, like 30-minute jogs or endless laps, they're training the wrong energy system. Physiologically, you're training the body to be efficient at going slow rather than explosive. If you want a more thorough explanation of this phenomenon, see the video linked below. Now, this study suggests that the barrier to entry for college soccer is athleticism, specifically explosive athleticism. If your weekly schedule is 90% endurance and 0% speed mechanics, there is misalignment. You're not ruining the player, but you aren't optimizing them for what the scout is actually looking for. Finding number 2 is about how your child gets seen. We're currently in a content era of youth sports. There's a massive industry built around creating highlight reels, editing 4K clips, and posting stats on social media. It's easy to feel like if you don't have a flashy Instagram presence, you're invisible. However, when the coaches were asked to rate their scouting methods, live match observation was the overwhelming favorite. It was rated significantly higher than video highlights, statistical data, or recommendations from agents. So, why is the disparity so big? It comes down to context. A highlight reel is a collection of best moments. It shows technical execution when everything goes right. But college coaches know that at the next level, things go wrong. They prioritize live scouting because they need to see the things you can't put in a highlight reel. What does the player do for the 87 minutes they don't have the ball? When they lose the ball, is their immediate reaction to sprint back, to try to win the ball back, or do they throw their hands up? How do they handle a bad referee call or a physical tackle? The study highlights that coaches are recruiting a whole person, not just a set of feet. If you're stressing about getting the perfect camera angle for a video, but ignoring the fact that your child walks with their head down after a mistake, you're focusing on the wrong metric. The coaches trust their eyes, not the edit. This leads us directly into the psychological domain, which provided some of the most consistent data in the entire study. Across Division 1 and Division 2 for both men's and women's programs, 2 traits were rated as critical: work rate and coachability. Coachability is often misunderstood. It doesn't mean just listening. It means the ability to take information, process it, and apply it immediately without ego. This is where the parents' role on the sideline becomes a factor in recruitment. If a scout is watching a game, they're often watching the sideline almost as much as the field. If a parent is constantly shouting instructions, pass it, shoot, wake up, it creates a conflict for the player. Who do they listen to? The coach or the parent? If the player looks to the parent for validation after every play, the scout sees a player who's not autonomous and potentially difficult to coach. I want to highlight a specific nuance in the data for female players. The study found that coaches of female programs placed a significantly higher priority on communication and agility compared to their counterparts in men's programs. For girls, voice is a technical skill. The ability to organize the field, encourage teammates, and communicate loudly is a major differentiator. If you have a daughter who's technically gifted but silent on the field, the data suggests she's at a disadvantage. Encouraging that vocal leadership is just as important as working on her passing. Now we get to the most important finding of the study, the attribute that separates the good players from the recruited players. When you strip away the athleticism and the work rate, which are just the price of admission, the single most important factor rated by the coaches was game intelligence, specifically decision making. This is the ability to read the game, anticipate what's about to happen, and make the correct choice in a split second under pressure. And this brings us to the biggest disconnect in modern youth coaching. To develop decision making, a player must be placed in environments where they're forced to make decisions. However, many training sessions are designed around predetermined patterns. This is where players stand in lines, dribble through fixed cones, or pass from player A to B, B to C, and so on. In these drills, the decision has already been made by the coach. The player is just executing. They're learning technique in an isolated manner in the drill, but they're not learning game intelligence. It gets worse on match day. We see many coaches acting as joystick managers. They stand on the sideline and narrate the game. Pass wide, step up, shoot, look behind you. If the coach tells the player what to do before they do it, the coach has made a decision, not the player. The player is just a robot carrying out the instructions. The study proves that college coaches want independent thinkers. They want players who can solve problems on their own, because in a college game, the crowd is loud, the game is fast, and the coach can't hold their hand. If your child creates great highlights in practice drills but struggles to impact the real game, it's often because they have high technical skill but haven't been trained in decision making. They're being trained to obey, not to think. So, based on these 178 coaches, what does the ideal recruit actually look like? Well, they're explosive and agile, not just fit. They perform live, showing high character off the ball, not just on it. They're coachable, resilient, and especially for girls, vocal. They're independent decision makers who understand the game. The purpose of sharing this study isn't to scare you, it's to give you the blueprint. It allows you to look at your current situation objectively. You generally can't change your club coach, but you can control the rest of the week. If you suspect your child's current schedule is misaligned, maybe too much conditioning or not enough decision-making work, you need to close that gap. I can help you do that. I can review your child's current weekly schedule to strip out the junk volume and ensure the work they're doing actually matches what these 178 coaches are asking for. If you want a second pair of eyes on your schedule, click the link in the description.